Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Bite Size Media, a subsidiary of Slate Media.
Good job.
That must mean it's Thursday. We're going to be watching more Sherlock.
Moriarty Sherlock.
The contemporary series. I have the box right here, so I'm going to show you. Right here. Anyway, we're starting Series 2 this week. Any thoughts on what you want Series 2 to be?
I want there to be more Sherlock. And that's what this is.
I think you're going to get that.
Do
you know what I remember about
Series 2?
Series 2?
Nothing.
There's a lot more Moriarty.
All right.
I believe...
Andrew Scott.
Excuse me. I believe that he is a normal star in this series.
Which... I mean, that's Sherlock Holmes. That's his nemesis, so makes sense. That one extended scene at the end of last series.
It's where he walks back out.
The whole thing,
or
we get more of this. All right.
Actually, I decided not. I can't do voices like that. Anyway, the specific episode we're watching is Series 2, Episode 1, A Scandal in Belgravia?
Belgravia, I think. I don't know. I've not seen it, so I don't know how to pronounce it.
So, this is the only other series that I've seen. I've seen one episode of Series 3, I think. I remember really loving this, again, because obviously Moriarty is in it. If this is the episode I'm thinking of, I believe it involves Moriarty in a bank heist.
In a bank heist?
Maybe not a bank heist, maybe a museum heist.
Interesting.
But I'm interested to see how Sherlock gets out of shooting him at the end of the first series, because I don't remember how that exactly plays out. I don't even remember if it picks up exactly where we left off.
Yeah, because where we left off is there at the pool. He's got the bombs are there, and he's about to shoot him or something.
No, because he threw the bombs away.
Yeah, he's about to shoot him.
I thought he was about to shoot Moriarty.
I can't remember. It was last week, and I can't remember.
I'm pretty.
It's been a long week.
It was either he was about to shoot Moriarty or he was about to shoot the bombs to make sure that Moriarty didn't get away.
It was like they got he got him off, threw him. Then Moriarty comes back, but then he threatens to shoot the bombs, and then that's like the cliffhanger.
Yeah. I don't remember if we pick up right there or, sometimes series, particularly BBC series, will start a couple of weeks later and then fill it in as you go.
Gotcha. Just that a typical non-linear thing.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Especially BBC series of this era.
Yeah. This apparently aired New Year's Day 2012. So the first day of the new year this comes out.
Makes sense.
And it was 2010 when last, so people had to wait between 1 and 2 years for this.
The week before they had the Doctor Who Christmas special, so it couldn't air then.
Yeah, so imagine having to wait that long to know how that
How long did you say it was again?
The gap?
Yeah.
Well, the other one's 2010. I didn't see when. I would... Let's see if this actually works. The internet is a bit slow. August 8th, 2010, so like a year and a half. Like just under a year and a half. That's still like for those kind of cliffhangers, because even like TV shows, they have the typical hour-long dramas that have a cliffhanger. You don't wait a full year usually.
It's only like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, something like maybe like 6 months tops. Because it's not a year from that day, because the season started 20-some weeks before that. So
yeah, it's not the same as when I was like in college and when I was big into this stuff. But I feel like the TV season used to end later in May.
That's the winter, yeah, because there's the 2 seasons.
So when I was in college, they didn't actually divide them into seasons like that. It was one big.
I think there are 2 sections of the year that's been a thing for a long time. Like there's stuff that starts in like the spring or summer, and there's the winter stuff. I think that's been a thing for a while. We can look it up, but like because it's like you'll have full pallets of things that are ending, so then you have stuff that starts, because you have to have stuff always playing. So that's why they have the 2 blocks. I think that's been a thing for a long time.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm talking. Oh, excuse me again. I'm talking about Smallville specifically. Like it'd start in September, October-ish. And then it'd go through usually the first week in Thanksgiving, first week in November. It'd come back for a week in December. And then it'd be February before the second half of the season started.
But in the meantime, like, because it's CW, right?
Yeah.
They'd have other shows, I'm saying, start in, like, April or May. When Smallville's wrapping, they'd have other things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Not shows would be split in half back in the day, necessarily, last season. I'm talking about, like, schedules for networks.
Yeah, because, stuff like Suits was always a summer show.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the split. The 2 different schedules.
I did not understand what you were saying.
Should we get scandalous, as they say?
Let's go, solve some mysteries and
take a bite.
Welcome back, everyone. We just finished watching episode 1 of series 2 of Sherlock, A Scandal in Belgravia, and let me tell you, I really like this episode. I know I sound like Dickie when I say that, but I just really did. I feel like definitely in production, it stepped up a notch since the first season.
Gotta be bigger budget.
Yeah, I definitely, I really love the way they use the words on the screens, whether it's with After Effects or Premiere, or just something. I don't even know if they use Premiere, just something that's not animation based. It's just, they're just kind of stagnant this time, but it works really well. Like the thing with the text and like, I would have done one thing differently. Obviously, spoilers. If you haven't watched along with us and you're just watching this, why? Go watch it. But
it's great.
There's that last thing after it's revealed to us, or when it is revealed to us that there's more going on. When he picks up the phone and you see all the text and it focuses on the goodbye, Mr. Holmes. It cut to her about to be beheaded, right?
Yeah.
It should have faded with it between the 2 texts. Like the text should be in the same, and it should have like cross faded with it in the same spot. I think that would have been more engaging than having it in the window and then fading it out, and then you see him in the window and then you see her. Yeah. Am I remembering how that played out correctly?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. As with Series 1, felt very early 2000s, very overexposed, very blue, a lot of glossiness around the frame that kind of makes it look cool, if we want to put it that way. Very Born Identity looking, except not
That's
green.
fair. That's a fair comparison.
Instead of green, it's bluish.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's a lot more brown. There's still some blue, like the cigarette scene on Christmas, but...
Although, funny enough, the Bourne Ultimatum, this is completely unrelated. The Bourne Ultimatum is very blue comparatively to the Bourne Identity.
Which Bourne Ultimatum was like 2007? That sound about right?
Yeah.
So not too much, 4 or 5 years before this. But we're starting to transition into the 2010s where digital's getting crisper. They're making it look more realistic instead of more stylized in that regard. And I was thinking, like, instead of the camera jumping all around all the time like in Series 1, to be more scattershot, akin to his mental process. It's much more stagnant until we hit those transitions, because the transitions are pretty cool. It's stuff you've seen before, but it's still cool.
Yeah.
I like how they use them.
A couple of them that I know we talked about at least while it was going on. The first one was when the dude with the backfiring car sat down in Baker Street. They did this kind of roll. And if any of you are camera gear nerds, the DJI Ronin S has this thing where you can put it in suitcase mode, so you're shooting like this, like it's spear, and roll the camera. And it did that sort of thing, and they just caught it really well. The car thing was another one where he's up here and then he kind of leans under and he goes
in her place, into the car and then back out. That's a really effective one.
There was a third, the bed one. Yep.
Yeah, I think you had asked me during the episodes, like, do you think that was green screen? And I said, my guess is they filmed in the location they were at. They green screened him and like a prop of the bed, so he just like leans over into it. So he's standing up when he falls onto the bed, and the bed is just like the top half prop in front of a green screen, and then they just match cut to him laying down in his bed at Baker Street.
That's one of my favorite lines. Lestrade may have filmed you on his phone.
Because you were spewing nonsense or something.
I really appreciated this because it didn't feel as episodic as the last set of them. It really felt more like it's building who this person is. Like if the first season was scattered and showing us his brain, this is showing us his heart.
Yeah, vulnerability. That's what this episode is. It's showing us there's a human being in there. He may not pop out ever, but someone got to him. There was a spark in him that has never been lit before, or a spark has never lit something before. But she did something to him. Now she made quite the first impression.
Yes, on him and John.
Yeah. And he looks at her. He can't read her. He can't deduce anything. So he looks over at John and resets, and he looks back over. Nothing. He's got nothing. It's like for the first time maybe ever someone's really gotten to him.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing I was kind of wondering, like, just in story. Like, so they're in the room, and he sends John out to guard the door.
Yeah.
So that John can light something on fire, so that fire alarms can go off, so that maybe she'll look up at where the phone is locked up at. How did John know? Like, I can see Sherlock setting that up. How did John know to do that?
Well, remember, he asked for the lighter back at Buckingham Palace. I'm guessing on the way there he told John what to do. Probably said, or go in the car, he said that he had the ashtray, because John asked, how did you know about the smoking? And somewhere in that car ride, he probably said, when we get there, I'm going to have you do this, because that's going to make her look for where it might be. It's probably going to be, he's going to go through his whole spiel.
So I'm willing to suspend my disbelief to believe that happened. I am also kind of thinking that that's outside Sherlock's character to tell him a damn thing.
I don't know. That's less about telling him what's up and more about concocting a plan. Being like, this is how I know it's going to be in the room. She's playing a game with me of sorts. I need you to do this. That will take her focus off it and show me where the thing really is.
Yeah.
So he shares information with him to get what he wants. And to get what he wants, he needs him to do that. So I wholeheartedly think that that's what happened.
The other thing I have to admit is that this is not at all so in the beginning of this bite-sized episode, I said that this was about a museum heist. We got about 3 seconds in and I was like, oh, it's a different episode. There is a museum heist. It's not the one from the first episode, from the first series. I can't tell you where it is, and I can't tell you who it involves, but I remember it now. I like how they sort of involved Moriarty in this too. Like, he's not a real big presence, but he's a big presence.
He's not directly involved, but he's behind the scenes,
which is very Moriarty.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you. So, I spent all that time looking up who the Irene Adler actress was.
Yeah.
It's because with her hair up and her cheekbones and her eyes, she looks like a person that the person who played the Master on Doctor Who, Michelle Gomez. It looks just like a younger version of her, but it is not the same actor.
Gotcha. Yeah, you were saying something, and I didn't even see her on this. I pulled up IMDb on my laptop, and I didn't even see her listed without hitting the full cast button for some reason. It's because she's billed. That's why she's billed last. Because in the credits she's and.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why. But what I'm appreciating is because each series only has a couple episodes because they're so long. I like how they use passage of time and it really makes you feel the time they've spent together. Because I think I said either last week, a couple weeks ago, it's weird that it's only within this episode. It's like in the second episode. We've only spent one episode with these two, and already John's rolling his eyes at everything he does and says. But here we have something where, like, we had 6 months go by just like that.
It was only 6 months,
He had 6 months with the phone and didn't figure it out. And then we got, and then a couple, time passes pretty quickly in this episode. And it really puts some weight onto just everything. And time jumps are effective when they're done right. A lot of media does not use them right because they do it just to have an excuse to age up or just skip over stuff. And usually what happens is when they talk about what happened during the time jump, you're like, oh, I would have liked to see that, telling, not showing. But if done right, the time jump should be what's done in the meantime isn't as important. And the things we flash back to in media for that is the important stuff, but isn't more exciting than what's going on. But media usually doesn't do that. When characters talk about stuff that's happened that we didn't see and it sounds cooler, that's distracting. So this is time jump done well because it's just him sitting around trying to figure out the phone. Out.
You want to talk about time jump? I mean, this has nothing to do with time jump, but just a character within that. Poor Molly.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't feel for her quite so much in the first series, but oh, man. She's so pretty, and he just destroys her for being pretty.
Well, he goes through his whole deduction spiel at Christmas. He's being a jerk. John's like, no, stop. Can you just take one day off? And he's going, and then when he sees whose name is on that present, he's like, oh, no. And another little bit of vulnerability, but in his own outwardly way of, please forgive me. Just real quick, real quiet, because he realizes his error, but instead of being more outwardly sensitive, he just kind of, apologizes in his own way. But again, the damage is done.
Just poor Molly. Oh, man. Yeah, I like Mark Gaddis's role in this as well. He's great as Minecraft.
You said Minecraft during the episode, so now we're just going to call him Minecraft.
Yep.
So there's one point, I don't know if you were toying with me or just thinking out earlier, like, why is he so something? It was that scene where he's sitting there all, and it's all blurry. Minecraft sitting at that table, and you said something out loud, like, what is the issue here or something? I don't remember what you said.
It was, what is he feeling the weight of was...
Yeah, and then you realize, they had this whole thing, so correct me if I'm wrong, they had this whole thing set up where they knew about a terrorist thing.
Mm-hmm.
They arranged to have a bunch of cadavers put on an autopiloted plane. And that's like how they get over, that's how they save lives. But then all it took was one interior person having a little fun and showing off that. And she took a picture, and that
fun.
That was kind of the whistleblow, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How was Sherlock part of the whistleblowing, though?
He was dancing around at all of the different cases, clients that he was seeing were related somehow to one of those cadavers. And they're disappearing. The dude with the I know human ashes when I have them in my hand.
Weird. And then the two little girls.
Yeah, they wouldn't let us see Grandpa when he was dead. Even the comic book guys, I think.
I don't think they showed them.
Anyway.
But then the guy in the trunk is one that got away from an earlier plan.
Yeah.
But then, what I was wondering is, so when they're on the plane, right before we get to the climax, where he figures it out, they say she's like, you can either do this or you can tell them all about the person who blew the lid off at your own little brother. And I'm like, what did he do?
I think, yeah, I do notice sometimes, not just with this show, but with British shows that I've watched, there's a level of assumption that you know what the writers are talking about, and that might not even be British television. That might just be the writer of this show.
Yeah, that was one thing. It's like, okay, I'm buying it. I'm just a little confused how we got here. I kind of liked the thought of, because Irene is reported dead after all this blows up in her face, and she's apparently beheaded, and Minecraft says that he was thorough, and so I'm like, oh, the only person who could outdo that is Sherlock Holmes, and was he available at the time or something like that? Like, but then it's shown that he did save her, and it's like I kind of like the thought of she is dead, not to just fridge her, but she is dead, and he's kind of like mourning that because that is like the first person to get to him, but in classic Sherlock Holmes style, of course.
I also like that they didn't. I feel like, okay, this is going to be one of those series where we compare a lot to what we know American television to be because we're dumb Americans.
Yeah.
But I really like that they didn't show it. I feel like it would have been a thing that we would have normally seen on television in America for us to see the whole battle.
Yeah.
It's just when I say run, he spins, and you see him running off. And you just see her smile, and it fades out.
Yep. Again, it's good, and I like that. It's like a ha moment, but part of me was liking the
idea of the finality of it.
Yeah, the weight of loss on him. But I've not seen any of this, so who knows if she ever shows up again.
There's a lot more to come.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the 4th episode, and we have like 12. Something like that. 13. So we're not even halfway done.
14 if you count the mini episode, but that's not going to be its own episode in our little deal here.
Yeah. But very good episode, very good start to the series 2, up there with the 1st and 3rd episodes of last series. So.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying it.
You got anything? Oh, by the way, everybody, I have never seen Jared laugh so much at a television episode. Do you know why? Because Sherlock is a dick.
Yeah. Like, again, I think I mentioned it in the past. He's saying stuff you want to say but would never say to people because manners and being sensitive and nice and courteous. And he just says it. He has no filter. And there's just something refreshing about sometimes, oh, that feels good to just someone said it. Now, when he goes after Molly at Christmas, that's the opposite of like, no,
she's not done anything to deserve any of that.
No, that's why you're like, stop, dude, stop. So.
Yeah. Let's see, what was it? Sorry, I was looking something up here. Anyway, do you have anything else to say?
No, good episode. Looking forward to more.
Yeah, good episode. Give me just a second here because I know what I was trying to look up. There we go. Okay. Anyway, she is in more episodes.
Well, thanks for spoiling it.
It's on IMDb.
I know, I wasn't going to look it up.
If you clicked on her name, you would have seen it.
I wasn't going to.
Not a spoiler if it's on the internet, clearly.
Oh, yeah. I went to the Alex Dickey School of...
That's different.
I hope you're
He
watching.
spoiled Star Wars. Homeboy spoiled Star Wars for me. That is so different. Right after we were talking about it, too.
Man.
Anyway, that's another series that you can go check out on our YouTube, on our website. Other than that, Jared, tell them where else they can check us out.
You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, the funny TikTok, and X.
Formerly known as Twitter.
And you can listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and hey, if it's YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, ring our bell, and make sure you rate us and like us on all those apps, and check out our groovy website.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then, if you want to solve more mysteries with us, keep watching us on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And
next week's episode.
Oh, yes. I often forget about it because I remember really hating it when it aired.
The Hounds of Baskerville, which is a classic.
It's a classic, the most well-known.
Yeah.
Probably the most well-known Sherlock story.
Possibly, yeah. That's the only one I'd heard. But that's next week.
Yeah, that's next week. We'll talk about it next week. But for now, let's...
Or until then, take a bite.